Hello, my lovelies. Tonight we have our cranberry cocktail and our energy shot because I have to edit the hell out of these videos if I want to get them out before my birthday. I lied to myself when I said this, FYI. So, I apologize at my tardiness, but I got it done, I guess. And today I want to kick off a series that will be consistent on my channel. It's not necessarily like a commentary video where I'm picking a specific subject. Well, on a very big technicality, I will be. This is more of a kicking this off and talking about my life experiences and just things I've gone through in my adulthood and overall, I guess you could say, like, guidance in a way from my personal life experience and also situations that I've just had talked about with my friends. Let's raise a glass with our little cranberry cocktail. Let's do our energy shot. That was gross this go around. Okay. Today's video is going to be like a very lax, cozy one, so please buckle down, get your cranberry cocktail, and let's have a little chit chat. It took me a while to come up with everything on the list just because I'm like, 25 things before you turn 25. It's a lot to think about. Like, you have to think all the way back from like the beginning of when you were young and what led you to this point now. I know a lot of people glamorize their 20s and are like, you know, your 20s, this is when your youth, this is the moment. And it's like, yeah, you're going into your adulthood and just learning how to be an adult, especially in American society. Like, we really do thrive on that concept of learning who you are in your 20s. I feel like it's hypercharged when you get into your like mid to late 20s because people are expecting you to have your shit together. By the time my mom was my age, I was 2 years old already. Kudos to her, because if I would have had a kid at 23, I would have lost my shit. I would have lost my absolute shit. If I would have had a child back then, before I had met the wonderful man that I am with, even in the mental headspace that I'm in now, I think I would have perpetuated a very strong issue of like not having an identity in who I am, you know, and not having a sense of self per se. This video is gonna kind of be a little bookmark, if you will, to start a series called Sesh that I will be starting on my channel, but also to talk about my growth as an individual and as a human being. I look forward to sharing this experience with you in a way. All right, without further ado, because that intro was a lot longer than I intended it to be, I'm not gonna start counting these off because I'm gonna forget the numbers like not even a quarter of the way through. There will be some of the points that I make that I will elaborate on, and there will be some points that I already laid it out for you. Interpret that as you will. Don't add in other things I'm not saying because this isn't a debate. No, we're not doing that. Lesson number one: what's good for you isn't always what's comfortable to you. I read a book that really helped me after I had gotten out an abusive relationship. Read this book called Lessons on Love, or I wish I knew this earlier, Lessons on Love, by an influencer who has the same name as moi. And I have been following her for years, mainly because she has like writing prompts and journal prompts that she would tweet out or like put on her page, but she would also be very eloquent and a lot more mentally clear with her intentions with her life and what she wanted and what she was saying. I knew that if I wanted to grow or at least be as level-headed and as clear as I should be, I needed to question myself, question my actions, question so many things about me before I grew. And one of those questions were, why am I okay with being treated a specific way? And that was in my relationships that I had had, in my friendships that I had had, and it was the underlying theme of, one, my father had just passed away, so I was really lost and grieving, and getting into relationships was one of the worst things I could have done to myself, but I did it. The love that my father had presented to me in my lifetime was ripped away from me, and I was trying to establish that in a different way, in any way that I can fulfill it, right? I was trying to fill a gap with another human being's relationship or companionship at the time. In that relationship, I had gotten comfortable. This is like where this is playing into. I had gotten comfortable with the yelling in my face, the cornering me, the taking away my phone, the, making me be stressed out and just a shell of myself. I had gotten comfortable with that. And I know you're thinking like, girl, that don't sound like a comfortable situation at all. But that's the thing, is when you're in an environment that only ever encourages you to always be in fight or flight, where people are always yelling at you even if you're doing nothing wrong. People are always belittling you even if you have nothing to be belittled. People are always yelling at you, cornering you, just making you feel like less of a human being or as a valuable person because they're frustrated about something else, or they got other things that they got to work on, or they're not dealing with their issues and their traumas the way that they should be. And that's not the fault of you, per se. I mean, that's not the fault of really anybody. I had to unlearn accepting disrespect from any person, both in friendships and in relationships, but especially in relationships, because that's where I tolerated it the most. I had to unlearn that I don't have to forgive somebody when they hurt me so bad. I had to unlearn yelling at me under any circumstance. It's not acceptable. I had to unlearn the things that I was or had become familiar with or comfortable with. You could always find comfort in chaos and in those types of things, but being in the relationship that I'm in now, I was very uncomfortable with the fact that he was so peaceful. I was uncomfortable with the fact that he didn't yell. I was uncomfortable with the fact that he unwaveringly showed me and proved to me that he loved me unconditionally and conditionally. And it's such a foreign thing to me, but I'm thankful that I had found the partner that I did. I was able to grow as an individual before I met him, but I'm very thankful that he allows me to still be an individual while being with him. Although we are a package deal, like 100% out of 10, I really, really do appreciate the fact that I had to unlearn what made me comfortable in some point in my life. And that's both thanks to him, but also thanks to my self-reflection that I had went through before I had went into a relationship with him. And I really appreciate him for that. If your parents do not apologize / refuse to work with the family issues with you, then you're probably going to have to cut them off. My mother and I, we had a terrible relationship when I was growing up. We had a terrible relationship, particularly more in my teenage years, when I was just growing into my body and I was having a lot of hormones and I was just, being an annoying teenage girl and giving my mom a hard time, while also simultaneously she was having a hard time trying to cope and understand that, like, oh wait, I'm becoming a human being that's a separate entity from her, and she had to learn that. My mom had to learn with me in growing in our relationship as both mother and daughter and as individual people. And I'm very thankful that in a very serious argument that me and my mom had, I had to basically threaten her and say, if you have any ounce of care for me, if you truly want to have a relationship with me, you need to change, because I will do you like how my aunt does my grandma, in which my aunt just doesn't speak to my grandmother anymore. And that is because my grandmother is a whole separate can of worms that I don't even want to get into. My aunt and my grandmother are estranged, and they tolerate each other because my grandmother obviously is in me and my cousin's lives, but it wasn't without a lot of damage done to get to that point. I'm just saying now, if you let it be known to your parents, like, always have a conversation. I feel like don't leave things open-ended so that they have to figure things out or try to, like, wonder what the issue is, because that always leaves room for an open interpretation and making themselves a victim in a way. You need to, like, have a backbone. And I know, like, people are like, oh, I can't have that shiny silver spine. I can't, right? But if you want people to respect you and you want to improve your family relationships and family dynamics, you need to talk to each other, and you need to make it be clear and let it be known that you want to start addressing that generational trauma, because when you're not doing it and you're acting like it's not existent, it's only ignoring the elephant in the room. If your family's not even willing to listen to your conversation or have a conversation with you, don't put yourself through so much mental anguish and just remove yourself. Because the reality is, you will be at so much more peace when you remove yourself from chaos and find comfort and happiness within that peace. If that conversation is had and you were ignored, it's time to take a step away. Because if you have your own home, you have your own sanctuary that is not directly connected to a parent, then take a step away. A lot of families have a lot of abusive tendencies. You gotta stop that. You gotta be the one to stop the cycle. It's just gonna keep on going. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be the one to stop the cycle, because who else is gonna do it? if not you. Next one. Do not accept apologies that you have never received. Now, this does not pertain necessarily to family. It can be from literally anybody. But for me personally, I had been in friendships where my friends would say some fucked up things to me, or my friends would do some fucked up things, or my friends would abandon me, or like make themselves no longer seen or heard from for like months on end. And it's because they got involved with a guy, or me and them got into an argument and we left in that gray zone, or we just had that constant need of accepting an apology that was never given. I've noticed when you're willing to accept apologies that have never been given to you, those people have the tendency to think that, okay, this is okay for me to do because you're going to keep coming back. And it perpetuates and continues on with the theme and pattern of, I'm going to do something completely awful to you and hurts you deeply, mentally, and emotionally. And you're going to take it because you're able to forgive me without me even having to apologize or say sorry to you. And me personally, I'm sick of doing shit like that. I'm so sick and tired of always saying, okay, I'll be the bigger person. Okay? I've been the bigger person since my childhood. I've been forced to accept or just allow people back into my lives even when I didn't want them back anymore. Or I've been given trips, and I've been given clothes, and I've been given like material items when it's like, yeah, cool, thank you. I'm not denying the fact that like the material item is not appreciated, but I'm sorry that I hurt you is so much more healing beyond just the material item, because at the end of the day, those items could always be replaced. Those items I could grow out of them. I can move past this, right? But if you never said sorry to me, what you said to me to make me even feel like this and that caused me to earn this trip or earn this item, it's not that they don't care, but it's like you're basically accepting it and being like, okay, you can keep doing this to me as long as you keep getting me that trip. And if you're not able to say sorry, then leave me alone and don't expect my friendship back, because I'm over it. I'm done. If you've been cut off and you've been my friend for however long you may have been, and I just haven't responded, yeah, we're not friends anymore. Like, it's not. I already said this conversation multiple times, and I'm letting it be known in this video. We ain't cool no more. You never apologize. You don't want to grow. I gotta leave you where you're at. Hobbies keep you sane, but they don't mean you have to make them your life's work. Don't get me wrong, YouTube was a hobby for a lot of people at some point, and I do inevitably want to try to have YouTube be a part-time job for me. If you genuinely love to do something, I'm not saying don't make it your job. If you're willing to like give up the passion that you have for what you're doing and whatever you're producing, then make it your job. Realize that it will inevitably become a job, and that takes a lot out of you. So don't be unrealistic with where that plays out. Do not follow dieting advice from an influencer. I work in healthcare. I talk to dietitians. I know you're seeing like those TikTok girls. Like, the only one I can think of right now is King Krabby Patty. Like, I saw her video and then I seen somebody have a discussion about the things she was saying. And here's the thing. Being skinny is not a problem. Being on the bigger side is not a problem. It's when you're promoting things that are inherently unhealthy, it's a problem. And with King Krabby Patty in particular, she's already thin, okay? She doesn't have a bad shape. She's thin, okay? And her whole thing revolves around being thin, but also fat shaming somebody who is not even that big in the first place, and trying to push them to be like, oink oink, you fat pig, you need to run. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute, let's stop there. Stop the jazz music. We need to be realistic here. Please make sure, if you're going to be more concerned about your weight and more mindful about the foods you consume or whatever, balance your exercise, your diet, and your food intake when you are sitting down for a meal. Now, that being said, stop focusing on calories. Focus more on what the contents of the food you're eating are, because you're going to need high protein. You're going to need to stick with protein because protein gives you fuel and keeps you awake and alive, okay? You need it. At the end all be all, you need protein before all else. If you're choosing to just only work out, okay, this is only working out, and you're not eating, you're only causing your body to shut down. And yes, you will get skinny, but you're also going to have your hair fall out. And you're also going to have calcium deficiencies and anemia and other really, really detrimental things to your health that will inevitably cause it to shut down. Another thing as well, people don't recognize this, but when you are constantly doing cardio and you're already not having any fuel for your body, and you are going to be causing your heart to stop. And I'm not trying to be like a fear monger here, but that is like the reality of what would happen if you're going to the extreme with these things. And a lot of these influencers are just dishing out this Y2K aesthetic and being like, oh, you're fat if you're a size 10 or whatever size is on those clothes that they're making up now. It has caused people to basically kill themselves just to be skinny. And being skinny isn't always what's healthy, but for some reason we associate skinniness with healthiness. Be realistic, stop listening to influencers, and talk to your doctors and dietitians and physicians, and be mindful of the food you consume, and etc. It's just everything along those lines. Listen to the people that actually have the certification in health profession in order to help you maintain a better and healthier lifestyle. Thank you. On to the next. It is okay to lose friends / stop talking to family if they refuse to respect you. It's a boundary thing. If you let your boundaries be known and those people always violate them and just try to downplay them or be like, oh girl, it's just me. Bitch, if you don't get them on. The relationships you choose to keep reflect on how you feel about yourself. When a woman or man is in a relationship with somebody who pours into them, you can visibly see it. It's a beautiful thing. Like, I don't know how to explain it. The glow, the joy, the contentness from them, it radiates, right? And you're gonna exert that in so many different ways. And that doesn't even have to be necessarily a romantic thing, but when you pour into the people that pour into you, and it is mutual and equal and respectful and caring, you will see results in your mental health, in your relationship specifically. I can't say overall, because stop relying on other people to fix you if you're a little bit messed up. Pour in to people who pour into you, and if they don't pour into you, you gotta pull back, because you have to realize when you give yourself and stretch yourself thin and nobody gives anything back to you, you're going to have nothing left. And that's all I'm gonna say on that. We're gonna move on to the next one. You cannot surround yourself with yes men. Next one. Disengage from social media for serious issues. If you're having a manic episode, if you are spiraling, if you're going through it, time to check out. Time to not log in and be involved in any of that. If your friend has an argument with you and they take it online, the second they try to have anybody else join in and pick on you and make fun of you and like, just trying to make a private argument a public issue, disengage, and honestly probably drop that friend after that too. If you lack a certain level of self-respect, you would tolerate that. I know that when it happened to me, I don't hate the person that did what they did, but I didn't appreciate the way that person let other people talk about me, knowing my character, knowing who I am. At the end of the day, we're friends. You're supposed to have my back. When you let people talk about me like that, we ain't friends no more, girl. Love you though. I hope you're thriving. Hope you're doing well. But again, disengage from social media for serious things. If you're having a manic episode, I don't need to know that your baby dad didn't buy diapers for 3 weeks. I don't need to know the fact that you almost crashed your car because you were snorting a line because you're going on a bender. You know what I mean? Like, people have said some wild stuff on social media and posted wild things on social media, and it's like, you need psychological help, because that's not something that the internet can fix for you, babe. Yeah. Do not do things with the intentions of making them look good for social media. If you only ever dress up for the day and that's what the intention of making a post on Instagram, it's not always a bad thing per se, but it is is that the only reason you got out of bed? Was so that you can get a photo? You didn't want to go on a walk? You didn't want to go get fresh air? You wanted to just go get a photo? Okay, girl. If your friend or significant others makes your arguments or disagreements a public issue, then that relationship is dead. You should cut them off. And I mean that with my whole heart. Don't try to hold on to that. Don't try to revive it. It's dead. In the water. Can't resuscitate. Do the chest compressions all you want to, bitch. It's dead. Okay? Wrap it up. Give it up. You're done. Always analyze your environment before engaging with anyone. This is more of a safety thing than anything for me personally. I've had weird things happen to me and weird instances happen to people around me where I'm like, especially after the pandemic, I'm hyper aware of my surroundings and making sure, like, look around the room before you just jump in and go be around anybody, because you do not know those people. If you're with a group of friends, make sure you're watching over and keeping your girls in track. You need to watch your environment before you just jump into doing whatever in that environment. Not every environment is a safe one. Your body is going to change. You have to accept it even if you do not like it. Seek a doctor that both listens and advocates for you. Y'all do not understand how important it is to have a physician or somebody that is of that specific profession to be on your side and listen to what you say about your body. My doctors, when I say, hey, this new thing has happened to me, this is weird, I don't know what to do, the doctor that I had before was just like, oh, I'll give you this to go deal with it and then we'll just move on. Like, this isn't that big of an issue, right? But then that doctor eventually left the network and no longer works there, and no ill will, they really were on top of a bunch of other things. But this new doctor that I had, she had recently graduated, so shout out to you, doctor. I'm not gonna dox you. Shout out to you, doc. As soon as I was listing off the things that I was having problems with and that I was like really going through, jumped on it, was looking for tons of alternatives on top of like traditional medicine, and was like, oh, you might have to do acupuncture, we might have to get you in massage therapy, we are going to be putting you in physical therapy, we're also going to be giving you, this for if the pain is too much to bear, we're going to give you this to deal with that, gave me multiple avenues, went through everything with me, and ran the tests necessary to get me straight, okay? And I am saying, you need to play the field a little bit and see what physician works best for you, because trust me when I say, you do not want somebody that does not advocate or stick up for you. Be picky with your partners. If you're not compatible, stop trying to make it work. That's all one thing, FYI. Just 2 sentences. Seek therapy for those issues you haven't addressed in yourself, whether it be generational trauma, whether it be you may or may not have a disability you're not aware of and people just didn't want to diagnose you properly for it. Go get those tests run, babe. It kind of ties back in with the doctor a little bit. Go seek out the help necessary for you across all boards, because it's gonna make a difference for you. Do not be unrealistic with your financial situation. We're living in an economy, and we are going to be living in a time. We're in an economic, honestly, I want to say we're damn near in a depression, but we're not there yet. We're in a lot of economic strife right now in this country, and we're going to be going through it 10 times harder this next go around. You don't need to buy every nice fancy new thing just because some influencer was trying to influence you into buying it. If you're not going to use it on a regular basis, it serves you no purpose. You do not even consider doing it beforehand. Girl, put it back. Get that out your cart. All right? No more online shopping. No more e-commerce. Sit your ass down and focus on getting your groceries and making sure your bills are paid. Rent's due, babe. You don't need that Dyson Airwrap. I know I'm speaking like that's real rich coming from me, but my rent's paid. I got the Dyson Airwrap because I made sure my other priorities were straight. You gotta really push aside the things that you don't need and prioritize the things that you have to get done, because you don't want to be homeless this next go around, babe. You don't want to be struggling as hard. Chase your dreams, but always have a plan B. Do not lose focus and only focus on plan B. And I say this because I'm speaking from experience. I wanted to be an actress. I still want to be an actress. I've been in a couple of projects that are all independent. Shout out to my directors. I am very picky with the directors that I do work with. And I know everybody's like, you're trying to make it big. You shouldn't be picky. But I have no desire to be in specific things that require me to do things that are against my moral compass, but also for the sake of just being known. I'm not going to do that. Okay? I wanted to be an actress, and I also am focusing on my plan B right now, and that's not anybody else's fault per se. It's just I got in my own head and I only focused on plan B, and I didn't, I wanted to do YouTube, I wanted to do acting, I want to do media. I just want to be a part of it, right? I want to do this on top of doing my actual career that I'm currently doing. And when you only ever make one the priority in this situation, it always bites you in the ass. And you really, really, really are not going to like that end result of well, where did the time go? Why did I throw my life and do that? Because you didn't focus on anything else but this. and then somebody else's fault but your own. Don't throw away your responsibilities and make yourself a starving artist, because you do not need to be starving in this economy. Make sure your priorities are straight and you're balancing things out, because when you do one over the other, you're gonna feel a lot more unaccomplished in life. Don't compare yourself to absolutely anyone under any circumstances, even if other people do it for you. This one, I'm mainly speaking because I see people of an older generation showing, like, the ones that didn't use their skincare and do their sunscreen and everything like that. Like, I saw the difference between people that don't manage to take care of their skin versus the people that do. Now, if you're a 12-year-old and for some reason you're watching this, which I hope you're not, because you're not even old enough to have a YouTube account. What the hell are you doing? Anyways, besides the point. You should only be doing sunscreen. If you're 12 years old, you have literally baby skin. You're literally still a baby. I'm seeing people rant about the children in Sephora that are going to the skincare aisle and wiping that thing out like it's nobody's business. And I'm annoyed with the skincare brands that market themselves for children, because you do not need to worry about anti-aging at the age of 12. Okay? You're young. You're a baby. Stop. Same thing with if you're 15. Same thing if you're 19, 18, whatever. You do not have to worry about anti-aging. You are literally still an infant, okay? Wear your lotion, do your skincare, like clean your face, right? Do your basic hygiene for when it comes to your skin, because trust me, I have eczema. Though it may not be that severe of a case, when I don't do my skincare, I feel it in my bones, and my skin feels it even more. Be on top of that, because it pays off in the end when you get to that age where you should have been focusing in on every aspect of your health. Learn what type of style / clothes you prefer, because we currently live in a climate where consumerism is like top tier, S tier. We're on top of all that stuff. Micro trends and all these fashion trends. Like, the pandemic made everybody go through an identity crisis and really caused people to just lose their absolute shit and not have a sense of direction or willingness to explore style outside of whatever was trending at the time. And it's currently happening now with the Y2K trends and everybody kind of being obsessed with nostalgia. Like, a lot of people are banking on nostalgia fashion, and nostalgia fashion doesn't work for everybody. When there's somebody that has an aesthetic that is theirs, and like you look at them and you're like, oh, that's you, like that works for you. I love seeing that. Like Matilda Jerf, I know a lot of people have a lot of things to say about her, but when I see her and I see her outfit and I see, like, you know, that Scandi style and see like her aesthetic, I'm like, okay, this is a person that knows herself, and she banked on knowing herself and made a profit off of it. And I ain't mad at a girl that knows how to get her bag, okay? But at the end of the day, of this entire conversation, is that she has her own personal style, and she monetized it. And I ain't even mad at that. I just know that when you have a sense of individualism and a sense of self, and a sense of personal style, you have the tendency to feel a lot more confident, because you know what's working for you. You know what you're comfortable in. Even if it's not necessarily conventional, you have your style. And I can't even get mad at a girl that knows how to have her style. Even if I don't like it personally, you did your thing. I can't get mad at somebody that knows themselves, because at least you know you're you. This kind of goes hand in hand with the style, but try to develop your own sense of self-worth, self-reliance, self-assurance, and self-respect. If you don't have any bit of that at the point that I'm at, I'm not going to judge you for it, because I know some women that are in their 40s and still need that. I realize now that I have more of a clear mind when it comes to me and what I like and what I dislike and what I want. I just know what I need to do to execute how I want to execute it, and it's going to go down. That's not the fault of anybody else. I just know that it took a lot for me to get here, and a lot of experience and a lot of hurt and a lot of, exhaustion. That's gone now. Like, I don't have to look to others to have a sense of my own identity or self-respect, because I don't have to seek validation from everybody over everything I do with my life. And I'm a lot happier because I'm not worried about what the next person has to say about me. And I feel like everybody needs to get on that. Everybody needs to get on that, because the second you stop taking the world into perspective with how you feel about yourself, you're gonna be alright. You'll be alright, girl. You're gonna be good. Seek fashion that flatters you and your appearance, because that's honestly kind of directly linked to confidence as well. When you look good, you feel good, you're working it. Even if you feel like crap, if you know you look good, you still gonna work it. I could say that certain styles work for certain body types, certain colors work for certain skin tones, you know, like that Korean like skin tone test for like the color variations to see what works best for whoever. Get on that. If you can like find ways to develop something that is 100% you for like your style, it will make you feel way better about yourself. Like when I know I got that shit on, y'all can't tell me nothing. Okay? I know what looks good and I know what doesn't look good, and I know what I feel good in and what I don't feel good in. And every single one of those things kind of overlap a little bit. It helps add on to your self-confidence in the long run, because you're going to have more of a established look and established you. Your emotions are not invalid in any situation ever. Even when you lash out or have a knee-jerk reaction, that is that initial emotion that you're feeling in that moment. Even if it's not right in the long run, whatever you feel is not invalid. A lot of people have the tendency to tell other people how to feel or how to navigate or how to do certain things, especially now at post-election and all the stuff that's going on. Everybody's got something to say about how the next person feels, about how the next person is reacting, about how the next person is navigating the entire situation. My thing is, who the fuck are you? Like, who are you to sit there and tell somebody that how they feel is not right, or not okay, or not the proper way to go about things? Your opinion on the way somebody else should be reacting to something that you've done, or your opinion on the way somebody feels or is feeling towards you, that's neither here nor there, okay? It's the way you feel, that's what you can control and that's what you can manage. Stop trying to sit there and tell other people how to feel or how to react or however to do anything, because no human being is the same person. We don't live in a fucking utopia, okay? People are not always going to have the same type of reaction to things. People are going to get upset. People are going to be angry. People are not going to be calm, cool, and collected. Fight or flight is always the baseline of everything. And sometimes people gotta fight, and sometimes people gotta fly. You can't sit there and act like you would know what to do in a certain person's shoes or in a certain situation when you are not actively going through it or have not gone through something similar yourself. And even if you went through something similar, just because you did the opposite doesn't mean that what the person did is wrong. I don't ever sit there and tell my friends how to feel about certain things. One, if it's not directly affecting me, right? But I do call them out where I'm like, hey, what you did could have hurt somebody. What you did could have hurt somebody or has hurt somebody. And if you want to apologize, you could. If you don't want to apologize, I'm not your fucking mom. Even if I was your mom, I can't control you. I'm not a puppet master. However you feel, whatever your emotions are, whatever the situation is, people are always trying to tell somebody else how to feel and how to react and how to deal with things. Nobody's a freaking god. Nobody is a guru. Nobody has control over humanity. And if they did, we got other things to worry about. If somebody's upset and they have that knee-jerk reaction or say something that hurts your feelings, you can just remove yourself and walk away. Don't tell somebody how to feel. Because when it's time for you to feel what you need to feel, the last thing you want to hear is I told you so, or you need to calm down. That one drives me crazy. Or you're doing too much, or anything along those lines of just minimizing what you're feeling. Because that's just, that makes me irate. It makes me so unfathomably angry. Y'all don't even understand. Y'all don't understand. I went through too much in my life, and now I'm just like, if you tell me to calm down when I'm up here, choke, and don't breathe afterwards. Do not bottle shit up. You're gonna explode. This is like a common theme I've seen with a lot of people in general, and I wish people would think about, if you're going through something and you're trying to keep it cool, calm, and collected when you're actually spiraling, who are you doing that for? If it's not to avoid being a complete crash out in that moment, okay, because crashing out is okay occasionally. I won't sit there and act like it's not. But if that's always somebody's initial or knee-jerk reaction, or if that is always your knee-jerk reaction and just like the initial, like, I just gotta throw and just drop a nuke, that's it. We dropping nukes here. Then it's like, okay, well, now what? You literally made the situation nuclear, right? You made the situation an uninhabitable wasteland. And now what? You've got to do 10 times more to fix things up because you held so much back, and now you're like letting everything out like a volcano. And don't get me wrong, if you're like a person that's in an environment that represses you and makes it like that, I'm not mad at that, right? You're eventually going to explode. However, if you're not in that environment and you're not in that specific predicament, what are we going through? Why are you bottling things up and holding things back when you're gaining nothing from doing that? If it's not for your protection and for your safety, what do you gain from doing that? I'm realizing I didn't finish this very, very last bit in the video, and it is lesson number 25. And the last and final lesson that I want to kind of share to end this video off is that it is okay to leave those male-centered friends and just friends that no longer give a damn about you or themselves behind. Okay? I understand if you have attachment issues or if it's hard for you to look past the history that you have with someone, but in my case scenario that made me cut off these specific people, a lot of them put me in situations that I don't even put myself in. And I was willing to tolerate it and move past it and keep forgiving them and keep letting it slide because I valued our friendship so much. But there comes a time when that person doesn't even value their own safety and their own lives. So, if they're willing to put themselves in a precarious and unsafe situation, they don't even give you a second guess or thought, especially when it comes to a man. I mean, I can understand you prioritizing your husband or your brothers or fathers or somebody related to you. For you to do it for any man that isn't even doing anything for you, like, girl, okay, that's how you want to play this game. That's how you want to go about this situation in our relationship. That is fine. But take that over there because that's not me anymore. And I'm a lot more at peace now that I no longer have these specific friendships in my life. And I got my boyfriend to kind of understand it because he's like, you've been dropping friends like flies. And I said, yeah, because I value my peace. And those people did not bring me peace anymore. They didn't even bring me joy. It was just me really kind of going along with them for the suffering, and I just don't have to do it, so I'm not going to do it. And yeah, that is lesson number 25. And those are the 25 lessons I've learned before the age of 25. This video was kind of a longer yap sesh. Trust me, the next ones are not going to be as long as this one is. If you stayed around for this entire go around, thank you. This is going to be like a more consistent thing that you see on my channel more than anything. Like, I do have vlogs. I have a birthday trip coming up, so yay. Hopefully I can get this video out before that trip, but I doubt it because my editing skills are not there yet. But trust me, you will see this. And when you do, I worked my ass off for this, okay? Give me my credit where credit is due. I appreciate it. Please acknowledge me. Okay. That is it. That is all. I have to go now cuddle with my boyfriend and watch our TV shows before we go Mimi's tonight. Okay, bye.